Reducing workplace bias. The normalcy bias is the assumption that dramatic changes aren't going to occur and that life will continue in fundamentally the same way. The normalcy effect can lead to complete underestimation of the dangers and threats that might exist in different areas of life. This can lead to poor planning and a disastrous lack of preparation. The lesson and meditation will increase awareness and the recognition of the dangers of the normalcy bias, improving the chances of realistic and effective recognition and planning. The normalcy bias is the tendency to gravitate to the normal when considering current and especially future conditions that offer completely new challenges. What this can mean is a disastrous failure to successfully adapt to events that have never happened before and are thus not part of one's experience. The normalcy bias has come into play significantly in the last 20 years because of the pace of technological innovation. For example, many brick-and-mortar companies did not see the impact of technology, and especially online shopping, and as a result failed to adapt accordingly. Interestingly, it wasn't that these companies couldn't see the trends that were developing, it's more like they couldn't effectively relate to them, because they hadn't happened before. It was as if these were just ideas rather than impending realities. They had no experience of the predicted changes and were looking at them from a more conservative mindset. Because new ideas, by definition, haven't been manifested, and those manifestations weren't experienced, some companies were stuck with the normalcy mindset. Whether it was a difficulty understanding what the predictions actually meant or a stubborn commitment to the normal, or both, probably varies from situation to situation. Remember, people are more likely than not to refute that Armageddon is actually coming. In a rapidly changing world, a normalcy bias can obviously be a hindrance to an organization's development as well as its survival. For example, how have organizations individually adapted to the total disruption to marketing with the advent of social media? I am sure there are companies who early on in the social media revolution invested time, effort, and money in training their marketers to learn about social media and adapt newer marketing strategies, while others plodded on with their normal practices. The latter were in serious danger of being left behind and having to play catch-up with the competition, not to mention incurring losses on normal marketing that stopped paying the dividends it used to. Success very often comes from being an early adapter to a new trend and impending innovation. This has become increasingly obvious in the past 20 years, and in some ways, such disruption is the new normal. However, there will always be challenges that are underestimated by some. For example, how will climate change, however instigated, affect every aspect of life? There is definitely a chance it will be like nothing ever experienced before. That makes it both daunting but also more prone to dismissal through the normalcy bias. Part of that bias is that we simply don't want to admit that major transitions are occurring. They make us feel more uncertain than ever, and if cognitive bias has one function, it is to help us retain our sense of control. The problem, as always, is how do you really get your head around predicted possible changes, and how do you scale not just their probability, but their impact? One way, of course, is to be open to the possibility of anything, even if it is frightening and threatens to turn your world upside down. Remember that what you consider normal today was once considered an outrageous fantasy. Meditation. If you have always done it that way, it is probably wrong. Charles Kettering. There is only one thing stronger than all the armies of the world, and that is an idea whose time has come. Victor Hugo. Learning and innovation go hand in hand. The arrogance of success is to think that what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow. William Pollard. As you relax and concede your need to control the environment around you and your previous stories and narratives, allow memories to spontaneously pass through your consciousness. As you see memories of past decisions, you can see your choices in action. You can see some of the decisions you have made that have had major implications in your life. The salient experiences and choices will come to mind. Are there times when you have adopted a normalcy bias and been too conservative in your thinking? Have you clung on to the old ways of doing things because they are comfortable and don't require change? If you have always done it that way, it is probably wrong. Sometimes you need to move out of your comfort zone and embrace new scenarios. Sometimes your comfort zone can become a discomfort zone, if not a disaster area. The ability to embrace change is an essential leadership skill. The ability to see what is normal and look beyond it is an essential management skill. Look outside the box of normalcy. Normalcy is a comfortable box, but it is also confining. It can seem like a nice hotel suite, but it can also be a jail cell. The arrogance of success is to think that what you did yesterday will be sufficient for tomorrow. Normalcy is comfortable, and comfort can be dangerous. Reducing workplace bias.